Dallas, from now on, that's how you play. That's what I'm talking about. I was like, finally, they put it all together here. I was like, they finally played Dallas Maverick ball. Don't get me wrong. They also did a bunch of stuff that was like, hey, this is a little different. But for the most part, they played Dallas Maverick basketball. All right. So with this, I was like, I think that the whole mentality changed. And is it one thing? No, but at the same time, I mean, it's a multitude of things, but at the same time, it is the one thing. And I thought that, look, everybody been talking about Luka, everybody been talking about him in his defense, getting blown by, all this type, yada yada. And this game, he basically simmered down. He ain't go at none of the officials. I was like, he was over here slipping and sliding his feet like he was about to take a three, but it's actually for defense. And who would you have it? It threw the Celtics off. Now, is he, I was like, he ain't locking nobody down, but I was like, the way that he was moving frustrated them the whole time because now he's not a mismatch. He's not getting taken to the rim and all this other stuff easily and all this other stuff. And it's like, if you can at least not be the weak link, guess what? They're going to have a little bit more of a difficult time. I thought their effort on defense, not just from Luka, but the whole team as well too. And hey, look, I was like, maybe that whole thing is very true that you basically, if your leader does this, then guess what? You follow suit. Because their defense was a lot better as a team. I was like, because they're really, I was like, while they switch everything, they really also are like man to man as well too. So if Luka get blown by, then that means that we all got to shift over there, which leaves somebody open. Guess what? Because of that, the Celtics didn't have that same penetration pass that they was getting earlier. So guess what? That stopped a lot of their paint shots. That stopped a lot of their three. Now they're taking tough shots. And while yes, the Celtics do take tough shots, they create most of the time their tough shots, not the tough shots from what the defense sort of gives them. So I thought that the whole rounded defense for all of them was there, especially too because it's like White and Holiday I was like, guess what? On the other end, I was like, guess what? They're small guards compared to the rest of that squad. Um, and also too, I was like, they made the Celtics look like how the Celtics play and are. Um, Look, I was like, Celtics had got the 3-0 lead and they were looking crazy. Hell, I was about to basically try to pinpoint of like, yo, they are some version of the Warriors that was in the finals a while back. Not that I was like in a different way than the Durant Curry is, but basically like you basically got 5 6 players, but they all are defensive and they're also can be offensive players. And I was like cool, I can hold off on that. But this is also what I mean. So this is what I mean when I was like, they aren't unbeatable. Cause I'm you do have to have all your stuff in a row. But I was like, the way the Celtics play, they allow you to be in the game. I was like, and that makes sense. That because they live by the three, and they die by the three, and we used to say that a lot, especially with especially like those Warriors. Difference is that there's a difference of Clay and Curry shooting, and then eventually KD shooting versus the Celtics shooting. They're not the same type of 3-point shooter. So it's like them doing the philosophy of three. They really need paint touches. And guess what? If you're not getting the paint touches, that means I get to stay home on the perimeter, which means that those threes that they were sort of getting isn't there. And also, by the way, like the Celtics haven't been shooting great from three. They've been shooting better than the Mavs from three, which means that they were just better than the putrid sauce that the Mavs were shooting from the three. The Celtics been struggling from there as well too. I was like, they just been getting so many damn paint touches that when they did get the three, it was just a bat breaker because it's like, oh, another one. DJ Khaled style. Like that's all it was. But the fact that you wasn't getting that, I was like, um, they wouldn't get. I was like, their fouling was even better, and by that I mean Dallas wanted to do is stupid fouls. Their fouls made sense within the play. Like it was like, oh, you were playing hard on defense and you got called for the foul. Hey, I'll take that more than you just doing a dumbass foul that is just like Luka's dumbass foul, or just like your fouls out of frustration where you just like, I think I'm playing good defense, and like, you kind of wasn't. I was like, here it was like it's like the one that I think Derrick Jones had on Jaylen Brown. I was like, I'll take that all day. No, Exum had on Jaylen Brown, where it was really great defense all to the end, where his arm just scraped his arm. But it was like 98% perfect defense. And I'm like, I'm willing to live with that foul. That shit made it tough. He was struggling for that shot. And even I was like, cool, take his ass to the free throw line. Now you're not giving them. I was like, yeah, go ahead. You just made it tough. You trying to make a tough basket and make these free throws. And it's like it's not the same as the free point that they were getting in the other one. It's like, oh, off of y'all already getting paint touches and shooting three, we're giving you free throws. So I was like, Dallas. The way they changed their philosophy and the way I think it helped is like, look, Luka came and played and Kyrie did his thing as well too. I was like, so you finally got those two together, playing like how they was in the last game, where it was like your turn, my turn, your turn, my turn, but it was in the flow of the game. I was like, Luka's always been someone that holds the ball and get his shot and all the other things, but this time it was actually for him to be a whole threat of like, oh, okay, cool. Is he gonna do the last minute pass? Is he gonna just? I was like, does he do the hesitate to step back, or he's gonna take it to the paint? Or what is he doing here? He was just abusing them. But the others, whether it was PJ, Derrick Jones, or whatever, they also wasn't stacked, and they also wasn't just standing at the 3-point line waiting for a shot. I was like, they would either go into the basket. I was like, because at least going to the basket will create mismatches and get the defense flustered or whatever. Everybody just not looking at Kyrie and Luka, just wondering what they're going to do. So in that, I was like, because they're going to the basket, that opens up for other people. I was like, Derrick Jones, like got the ball and went toward the three. I was like, went to the quarter 3-point line and got a shot, and I'm just like I'd rather you do that within the flow of the offense than just stand there and just be like, well, I'm gonna just wait for this pass and have a hard ass shot when they coming at me. I'm like, Derek Lively shot a 3, which was crazy. Once I seen that, I was like, okay, it might be their night, and then Derrick Jones also got like he did a crossover and then he did a little layup package, and I was like, okay, we might be seeing their night. Don't hold me, but yeah, that might be what happening. Yeah, I was like, so from that aspect of the game wise, I was like, hey, look, that the Mavs played their basketball, like moving the pace and all this other stuff, but they did change up some other things to where it's just like, okay, cool, we need to move more, we need to incorporate things and all this other stuff. So with that, also props to Jason Kidd, because I said in the last one I didn't like how he was doing his rotation, and this I think he figured out his rotation and I was like, because you got to figure out who you want to play and let them actually stay in. I was like, cause he tried Hardy, he tried Hardaway, he tried Exum, but he wasn't giving them enough. I was like, he was trying to figure out which one. Cause I was like, game 1, I think it was Hardy for a while. I was like, game 2 was a mix of, I was like Hardy, Exum, all that other stuff. Game 3, he tried Tim Hardaway, but he wasn't getting his shot or whatever. And some of that was because also they wasn't playing great on offense either, moving the ball. And I'm like, cause I was like Hardaway, as you've seen in the game. I was like, once he gets going, the floodgates open. But I was like, you can't do that when they're sticking so much on him. I was like, Hardy, I was like, so much you can only ask for a young player. I know Lively's young, but he has to basically be essentially Kyrie and Luka, because he has the ball and he wants to shoot. So he got to figure out how his pace is. But he put in Exum, which I sort of was like, that's the one I thought that you should play other than Hardaway, is Exum, because I'm like, he's 6'6", he could play defense, so it's like he's not a liability there. He could be in switches, he could push the pace as well too, And if he's willing to take those shots, and I was like, guess what? You gotta live with it. He makes them, and guess what? He was taking those shots as well too. Uh, I was like, I'd rather him taking than not. But he's also putting pressure on the basket. The way he is moving into the paint and all that other stuff is creating mismatches as well. But he's also just a big body that is like, hey, guess what? If it's me and Luka, then it's Josh Green. Then guess what? Hey, we're all just big body dudes, all 6'6" in the hot tower. And also too, I was like, he decided to play Kleber minutes instead of Gafford. I was like, to me, I was like, if you are playing against Horford, I was like, Lively Gafford. I was like, Lively probably the better option. I was like Gafford, you got to switch his minutes, but Kleber, I was like, is able to play with any rotation they have because I was like, he's 3-point shooter. I was like, he doesn't get beat on defense. 6'10". I was like, with big body that he could. I was like, and Horford ain't really backing nobody down either, so you ain't got to worry about that. Deciding, I was like, the way he sort of played his lineup. So when I was like, where it was, I think it was Cleveland, but then it was like I sort of suggested this. I was like, they played some version of it where I said, go ahead and just put Exum Green, Derek Jones in there, and one of the dudes, and then just play like a small ball lineup, and that's what he did. And guess what? That also was effective because hey, if you think about it, that's what the Celtics really are, especially if you ain't gonna have Porzingis in there. So I was like that. They stopped basically the bench player, the Pritchard and Hauser from contributing anything. Cause I'm like, hey, listen, let's limit the points from players that shouldn't be over here scoring like that. And that's what they did. I was like, cool, we could contain that. I was like, White, if he's not really shooting threes, he ain't doing nothing else. I was like, Tatum was playing. I was like, Tatum was playing a little bit in the first quarter and a half, where it was like him for a while, and then after that, guess what they sort of resorted to? The Celtics that we all sort of have criticized in the past of just like they taking the jump shot, they taking the dumb shot. Once you sort of get them flustered and stuff like that, they can't do anything. Also, I was like, and this is how I thought the games would be. Not a blowout like this, but I'm like the Mavericks in this situation where I'm like, I was like, they can play with the Celtics because I was like, they can match up. They don't have the same players that are like both sides of the ball, but that doesn't mean that they can't do it. That doesn't mean that they're not capable. And the Celtics, I'm like, they will play like that. They will give you a game. And my thing is that as much as the Celtics have dominated, like, look, you only can take the wins for what they are. But let's also be honest that comebacks were made when there shouldn't have been any comebacks with that type of team. What, 2 times? I was like, out of 3 games. I was like, cut the second one. I was like, the second one was just close or whatever. That no, the first one was. I was like, the first one got him almost in the third quarter, then couldn't do anything about it. I was like close to nearly the whole game and sort of in the second quarter. Then I was like, then the third game, we seen how that comeback happened. The Celtics, I was like, the Mavs. You see, the Celtics they didn't come back at all. They didn't try, but they didn't come back at all. So, and my thing is that Dallas has a lead like this, you're not getting back in the game. The Celtics have a game like this, they're allowing you back in the game. So, and I was like, that's sort of how I've always sort of thought about this matchup, this series, or whatever. That the Celtics, even though when they could be locked in, you could still sort of get them. I was like, if Dallas gets to stay locked in, once they're sort of pouring it on, the way that Luka and Kyrie play, we'll just be like, cool, we'll exchange baskets at 20, whatever. But yeah, no, I was like, do I know how Monday's gonna go? I don't know, because Dallas had desperation all in a back pocket. And I'm not saying that they don't have desperation for Monday, because you go home again. But now the Celtics have different desperation, because guess what? You don't want them to get another one and then go to Dallas. I know we say that a lot like it's a cliche, but as we've seen in this for this series, and I'm like, okay, cool. They have played better at home. They're the team that I actually feel like you let them get that momentum, that Luka and Kyrie will feel that a lot more than what we normally say as a cliche. And the Celtics will feel all the stuff that always gets said about them all the time. And that might create some difference in all this because they got different narrative than what we normally bring to two teams in the finals. So we'll see how this go. We'll see how it goes. Um, Man, I was like, that was just. I was like, I wish this would have happened earlier because the Celtics really don't have another way of adjusting. Whereas I was like, that's why I was so really disappointed with Jay the Kitchen because I'm like, I was like, he has to find the adjustment, especially because they lost, but he can. Whereas like the Celtics really only got they players that they got. There's no like this like everybody was like, oh man, the Celtics are deep top to bottom. I was like, no, they just have these guys. That's it. You're not about to throw Pritchard in there and be like, let's figure this out. No, but I was like, Kid has Hardaway that he can see. He got Kleber to see. He got Hardy to see. He got Exum to see. He has like 10 not like 10 dudes that he can sort of figure out that like, okay, how do I want to play this? What kind of style it is? It just took so long to get here. Whereas like the Celtics, I'm like, this is like how you see them play. This is how they're going to have to play again. And if they're not hitting shots out the gate, guess what? Because guess what? Dallas been playing the same. I was like, they've been trying to get points. They just didn't miss as many of those stupid bunnies that they would just miss that they were missing before. I was like, they kept the defense on. So guess what? That led to transition basket. I'm like, look, they play basketball and they won. So hey, it's going to be great to see basically what happens next. But I also said, hey, I know I'm going too long. Is that I was like sweeping. I was like your star players get you one at least, and they got one. Thank God, because if they would have got swept, I was like, that would have been weirdly. That would have been bad historical. That you were this type of player and you let your team get swept. And I'm like, you normally get one, and also two. I was like, other than desperation, I said they have in their back pocket a little bit of pride. I guess is there too. Can they bring that back out again and get this thing going? Because I'm over here rooting for more basketball, and if we get more basketball, I'm all for it. So yeah. Anyway, that's what happened. Thank you. Goodbye. Peace.